Mistake number 5 out of 10 on saving for retirement. In this episode, in this series, I'm going to address the question again. What mistakes do people make when saving for retirement? This is the 5th mistake. There's hundreds people can make, but I have selected the top 10, and this is the 5th mistake in this series. Be sure and watch all the other episodes, but get ready. A lot of people don't think about this one until it's too late. So my name's Doug Andrew, and I've been a financial strategist, retirement planning specialist for more than 4.5 decades. And so I've seen thousands of people as they prepare for retirement, and they would often come to me because they would hear me on the radio, or they would read one of my books or ebooks or what have you, or maybe they're watching these educational videos like you are right now, and all of a sudden they'd go, I need to check into this. Yeah, a lot of times people make mistakes, and I'm passionate about helping you avoid the mistake, or at least correct the mistake before it's too late. So this is mistake number 5, and it happens more often than you would think. But people oftentimes, they sock away money into traditional accounts like IRAs and 401ks, 403bs, tax shielded annuities, 457 plans if you're a police officer. These are all qualified plans. Qualified with who? The government, where you can put in pre-tax contributions like 401ks, and it grows tax deferred, and then when you go to retire, you have to pay tax. Well, you do this sort of with your head in the sand, and you're following the herd, as I've explained on some of the other episodes in this series. And you're just doing what you do best, and you're trying to enjoy life, and you're being responsible and accountable, socking away money for retirement. And so you hit age 59 and a half. Now, does that age ring a bell? What can you do at age 59 and a half if you own accounts like IRAs and 401ks? You can access money out of them without a 10% penalty. It's like an early withdrawal penalty, okay? In other words, if you need money out of a traditional IRA or 401k before the age of 59 and a half, or even out of a Roth, if you haven't had that Roth for at least 5 years, you have to wait till you're age 59 and a half, or you will be assessed a 10% penalty. So if you were going to take money out, $50,000 or $100,000 out of an IRA or 401k, and you're in a 25, 30, 35% tax bracket, you have to pay another 10% on top of that. I've seen people go from 33% up to 43% because they tap into money before the age of 59 and a half because they get laid off, they get sick, they get disabled, and they need the money. Well, the government penalizes you for tapping into that, and I've seen many Americans pay more than 50% out in taxes and penalties. So age 59 and a half is this liberation day where you don't have a 10% penalty. So sometimes people will begin to access their money, but most Americans think, oh, okay, well, I don't need the money yet. I've still got another 10 years left in me to teach school or to run this business, because they understand that making themselves necessary is the secret to longevity. And so if they don't need the money out of their IRAs or 401ks, they think the best place to leave it is there. No. They're told by CPAs and tax attorneys, oh, keep deferring. Keep waiting until you need the money. You don't want to take it out before you need it. You'll have to pay tax. You're going to have to pay tax sooner or later. And oftentimes when I say this to CPAs and tax attorneys, they go, well, yeah, but where are you going to put the money? I go, you're going to pay the tax at today's lower rates and reposition the after-tax monies into something that's going to be tax-free from now on. And they go, what's tax-free? And so I have to educate CPAs and tax attorneys on my favorite vehicle, which is the title of my most recent best-selling book I want to gift you at the end of this episode. It's called The Laser Fund. My money accumulates tax-free here under a section of the Internal Revenue Code, Section 72E, that has been grandfathered in the Internal Revenue Code for over a century. I can access money tax-free out of here under Section 7702. These sections of the Internal Revenue Code have been around in one form or another a lot longer than IRAs and 401ks. It's been a sacred tax-free cash cow for years, but I can also, when I pass away, anything left in here will blossom. It will oftentimes double or triple and transfer income tax-free to my heirs. There's not an IRA, or 401k, or a Roth that will do that. So why would I keep my money in an IRA or 401k? So at age 59 and a half, that is the time where I would strongly recommend you consider repositioning the money. It doesn't mean you need to use the money. You're repositioning the money, getting the taxes over and done with sooner at today's lower rates, rather than continuing to defer or postpone until later. A lot of times people think, oh, I'll just leave it there for another 10 years. I'm going to be working. No, usually when I do an analysis for people, they are blown away. Before I share with you a simple look at this analysis, if this is intriguing you, and you want to share this with someone, be sure and share, post a comment, click like, subscribe to this 3-Dimensional Wealth YouTube channel, because I have over 500 educational videos like this on this channel, and I have all 10 mistakes in this series, and I don't want you to miss out on watching any one of those. And so subscribe, and I post a new in-depth answer to financial questions almost on a daily basis on this channel. And then at the end of this episode, I want to gift you a copy of this 300-page best-selling book, The Laser Fund, to empower you to correct these mistakes before it's too late, okay? So this mistake is often made because well-intending CPAs, tax attorneys, financial advisors usually go, well, you don't need the money yet, so continue to defer, thinking that is saving tax, because if you don't have to pull it out and report it on your tax return, it's saving you tax. That is a short vision, okay? It's not being far-sighted. And so this is why that kind of advice is what I call myopic. You're looking at it with just this short-range vision. Oh, you'll have to pay tax. Well, maybe it would be wise to pay the tax now rather than wait till later when tax rates will likely be higher, because most Americans believe that future tax rates will likely be higher. So why do you want to keep postponing and deferring? They go, well, golly, I don't want to pay the tax. And I would show school teachers with my software the darkness of the night, so to speak, if they kept waiting from age 59 and a half to age 70 and a half used to be the age when they had to start withdrawing it. Now it's age 72. And so they would say, oh no, my advisor told me to keep waiting. And I remember this husband and wife couple, both were school teachers. And in 403Bs and 401ks, they had about $250,000 accumulated. This was years ago. And I went, well, way to go. And I said, I want you to start taking out $60,000 a year for 5 years. Let's get this out and the taxes over and done with. Now, 60,000 times 5 years is 300,000, because I was going to have them continue to earn interest on the 250,000 while we got it out. Now, I felt like Sam I Am in Green Eggs and Ham. They would go, oh no, we don't want to pay the tax. Oh. I go, you will like this, you will see. And they didn't want to pay the tax. I go, no, you're going to pay it sometime. Why not get it over and done with sooner than later? I showed them, illustrated, 250,000 doubling, because they were earning about 7.2%, to 500,000 by age 70 and a half. And then I took out the minimum distributions throughout their life expectancy for the husband and the wife, and then down to their children. They were shocked. If Congress didn't even raise taxes, they were going to shell out over $250,000 in taxes by stretching it out. These were called stretch IRAs and 401ks. I said, why do you want to do that? They were going to pull out $60,000 a year, pay $12,500 a year in taxes, but we would have all the taxes taken care of, about $60,000 in tax over 5 years, instead of waiting and paying $250,000 in tax by stringing it out. We took the net after tax and we put it into a portfolio of laser funds for the husband and the wife. We ended up at the end of 5 years getting their money out of those IRAs and 401ks with $60,000 in tax instead of $250,000 in tax. Now, in actuality, I actually showed them how to offset the tax by resurrecting some deductions that they had been killing on some of their rental properties. That's another strategy. Even worst case scenario, would you rather pay $60,000 in tax or wait and pay $250,000 in tax? It reminds me of the old Fram and Autolite commercial, where an automobile mechanic on TV would hold up an oil filter. And he would say, well, you can pay me now and I'll change your oil filter. Or you can wait and pay me later and I'll replace your engine. So many people get duped into thinking, I'll just keep postponing. And then they're having to replace their entire retirement engine because they keep putting it off. Get the taxes over and done with sooner than later, starting at age 59 and a half. That couple at age 64 and a half had all their taxes paid, and at age 70, we ended up with double the net spendable income out of a portfolio of laser funds of where they would have had their money subject to all kinds of taxes if they left it in their 403Bs, the 401ks, and even rolled those over to IRAs, which many times they're advised to do. That's the worst advice I've ever heard other than our MDs, which is another mistake in this series. So folks, if you want to correct the mistake before it's too late, perform what I call a strategic rollout. It's not a rollover. A rollover is going from the frying pan into the fire. That's taking money out of 401ks and rolling it over to IRAs and continuing to delay the inevitable. Don't do that. Perform a strategic rollout. Get the money out strategically, get the taxes over and done with, and reposition the net after-tax money into something that's going to be tax-free. What's tax-free? The laser fund, LASER, liquid assets, safely earning returns, has been grandfathered in the Internal Revenue Code for over a century under 3 sections of the code. 72E, 7702, and 101A allows you to accumulate, access, and transfer your money totally tax-free. It knocks the socks off of leaving money in IRAs and 401ks. Go to laserfund.com or click on the link below. Contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I'll fire out a copy for you. I'll pay for the book. You can also look at ways to listen and learn and watch and learn, but correct this mistake before it's too late. Do not get talked into leaving your money in those accounts unnecessarily after age 59 and a half. Get the money out and the taxes over and done with sooner than later, because your current tax bracket is likely the lowest bracket you will ever be in.